Jai Baba, Jai Baba. Avatar Meher Baba ki Jai. 7 realities. Sanjay ji, if you're comfortable, why don't you read?
Yeah. Avatar Meher Baba ki Jai. I give no importance to creed, dogma, caste, or performance of religious ceremonies and rites, but to the understanding of the following 7 realities. The only real existence is that of the one and only God, who is the self in every finite self. The only real love is the love for this infinity, God, which arouses an intense longing to see, know, and become one with its truth, God. The only real sacrifice is that in which, in pursuance of this love, all things, body, mind, position, welfare, and even life itself, are sacrificed. The only real renunciation is that which abandons, even in the midst of worldly duties, all selfish thoughts and desires. The only real knowledge is the knowledge that God is the inner dweller in good people and in so called bad, in saint and in so called sinner. This knowledge requires you to help all equally as circumstances demand, without expectation of reward. When compelled to take part in a dispute, to act without the slightest trace of enmity or hatred, to try to make others happy with brotherly or sisterly feeling for each one, and to harm no one in thought, word, or deed, not even those who harm you. The only real control is the discipline of the senses to abstain from indulgence in low desires, which alone ensures absolute purity of character. The only real surrender is that in which poise is undisturbed by any adverse circumstance, and the individual, amidst every kind of hardship, is resigned with perfect calm to the will of God. Avatar Meher Baba Ki Jai.
Thank you. So we will continue with as planned. We have the session with the questions, right? So we'll start with that for removal of samskaras part 1. And I hope all of you spend some time reading back on that chapter and then getting comfortable with it, because grilled you are going to be. Over to Ravi.
We have somebody new.
Yes, we have somebody new. We have Rana Krishna from Ahmedabad. So she will introduce herself at the end of the session, towards the end of the session.
Okay.
Welcome, Rana Krishna.
Welcome.
Thank
Can
you.
you see my screen?
Welcome, Jai Baba.
Yes.
Okay. So today we are doing the removal of sanskaras, part 1, and it deals with the cessation, the wearing out, and the winding of sanskaras.
Unwinding of
sanskaras. Unwinding of sanskaras. Sorry, late in the evening for me after a long day. Questions prepared by our own dear Khalid Bhai. Let's welcome Khalid Bhai.
Thank you. Jai Baba Khalid.
Jai Baba,
Jai
everybody.
Baba Khalid. All right, let's begin. What is the reason a human does not experience oversoul when evolved from animal? First time human being evolves after last animal form, and his consciousness is full, and why doesn't he experience the oversoul?
Shrouded by the Sanskaras.
Wonderful, wonderful, great. The sanskaras, which are contributory to the evolution of consciousness, themselves become impediments to its efficacy in illuminating the nature of the oversoul. Khalid, I changed the question format to your question. I think this is more suitable. Okay. Pardon me for changing that.
That's okay, Ravi.
Thank you. How many ways of securing release from Baba's sanskaras has been mentioned by Baba? Name them.
Oh.
How many of
Yes.
them? Just simple.
5.
5. Great. What are they?
Cessation.
Okay.
Securing release is
Cessation, securing
service,
release.
service, meditation.
Wearing.
No.
Yeah, that is the.
Okay, wearing.
No,
Wearing out, unwinding,
Unwinding. Good.
and dispersion and exhaustion.
Dispersion. Yes.
Dispersion and exhaustion.
Dispersion, exhaustion. Okay.
This is why it requires the grace of the perfect master.
That's good. 5th one. The first one. Where's the first one?
First one is cessation of creating.
Cessation. All right. Let's see. Good. I think most of them will be covered. Cessation of creating new sanskaras. Very good. Second one is wearing out the old sanskaras. Unwinding of past sanskaras. The dispersion and the exhaustion of some sanskaras. The wiping out of sanskaras. This is done by perfect master.
Yes.
But all these 4 are in our hands. Very good.
And part 1 deals only with the first 3.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
what are the ways of implement renunciation?
Solitude.
External and internal. External is solitude and fasting.
Right.
Sorry,
right.
Ashok.
Yeah.
Anyone can answer.
Yeah.
External or physical renunciation. Internal through solitude and fasting.
Yeah.
Internal and mental renunciation by surrendering all cravings, especially sensual objects.
So I have a question or a thought here. And so Baba talks about external renunciation and gives a lot of importance to solitude and fasting. But I was surprised that there's no mention of silence, because given that's also a spiritual practice, I was just reflecting on that, given it's closely linked to solitude and cessation of interactions with the world, limiting of obviously converting thought to word is limited, and then obviously action can be further limited. So as a spiritual practice, I was intrigued by the fact that he's not mentioned it, but that's just me, and I just want to bring it up to see what others have to say.
So, Karthik, can I just add to what your question, or just clarify? I think the practice of meditation is ultimately silencing the mind from your cloud of thoughts. So it's a step towards silencing the mind or annihilation. So of course, meditation is a step towards silencing the thoughts which are flowing, or as our great Kama says, you do not react.
I think it is also that Baba didn't want to recommend any prescriptive kind of practice, keeping silence, except for the 10th of July that he has wished. That is also his wish, that his lover should keep silence. So that's also, and the solitude is also a form of silence, actually. So solitude he has given, but not as a practice of keeping your mouth shut, which becomes more physical, or it becomes more ritualistic, maybe. Yeah.
I think.
And rejection of desires. A rejection of desires is also a step towards silence. Getting the external environment create noise for you.
Beautiful. I feel by definition, solitude means you are on your own. So when you are on your own, you expect not to shout around, isn't it?
Absolutely.
So that means, so silence is a part of solitude. So when we take silence as a separate entity, silence being with others, silent being with others, that is a different perspective. So you are moving around, you are doing your daily activities, everything, but you are not reacting to anything verbally, and also if you train yourself mentally also. So that is silence amongst noise. But solitude actually includes silence because you are totally on your own.
Totally accepted.
Yeah. So that's how I look at it.
Good distinction.
And I have one more aspect here. This renunciation, what Baba has explained, is Vanaprastha-shrama. So
yes.
Those who have studied Hindu philosophy,
Vedanta.
So we have Vedanta, we have stages in our life. So after Brahmacharya, Grihastha-ashrama, and then Vanaprastha-ashrama. So here, what actually, if you read Mahabharata, they start moving out of their palaces into the forest. So there they are alone, they are on their own, solitude. So they do not expect anything from any help from anyone. So they give up voluntarily all the luxuries that they enjoyed. So that is the process explained. This is a part of solitude or renunciation, I think.
Beautiful.
Jai Baba.
Beautiful.
Jai Baba.
Jai Baba. Beautiful.
Could we also say any monastic life, right? Any monastic life is a good example of external renunciation as described here, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I would like to echo what Ashok ji said. Silencing the mind is very important for us. The mind is a flow of thoughts. So maintaining silence will slow down the thought flow. And slowing down is very important for our spiritual journey. That's number one. Number two, along with the flow of thoughts, desires play a major role. Silencing the mind will have a control over the desires. That's what I'm thinking. But beautiful. Everybody gave a beautiful answer. Very good. Very good.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And I'm glad I brought it up. It brought out so many angles. Yeah, go ahead.
Mentions the type of incense.
Yes, renunciation will help in which of these 5 categories or which all of these categories?
The previous categories you're talking about?
Yes. 5 ways of securing release from Samskara. So renunciation will...
Samskaras.
Cessation.
Both of them, actually.
Yes.
Cessation and wearing out.
Sanskaras, wearing out the old Sanskaras, both.
Yes.
It could also be lead towards wiping out. Just a question. Will renunciation also lead towards wiping out?
Wiping out is done only by perfect master, isn't it? He wipes out everything before we enter into the 7th plane.
Yes, wiping is a process which connotes that there is something already there. You are going to remove it. In solitude, you may mentally think over what you have done earlier, and then also think that you should not have done it, or you should not continue all these things. But that doesn't help in wiping out, I think.
Yeah, wiping out is, yes, I think it has to be external. Like we do, what you call as common languages, pocha, take a duster and keep like a glass cleaning or a table cleaning.
Yeah.
There has to be somebody else to do that. Yeah.
Yes. When the board is full, the teacher takes the duster and wipes out everything. The master. Yeah.
Actually, the analogy is master won't come till there are very few things left on the board. You have to do all the hard work. He'll come to do the real hard ones. He uses colon and one wife. Pocha. Done.
Yes. But there are lucky ones.
Yes. Yeah, of course.
Karthik, I think what you're saying is that the teacher will come when the student is ready, right?
Of course, yes. Also.
Okay. Sorry. This is define the types of penance. I might have done something here by transferring from one form. Let me answer. That's me. Khalid Bhai, can you intervene, please? Define the types of penance, right? Is that the...
Yeah. What are the types of penances?
Yeah. I think it's typo.
One is, repentance, fasting.
Penance first.
Yeah.
For clear understanding, we need to define penance. Somebody define it or explain what do you mean by penance.
Penance may be achieved through repentance, self-condemnation, and humility.
Penance, dictionary meaning, punishment inflicted on oneself as an outward expression of repentance for wrongdoing. And Discourses also has a reference. So let me find that for you in a minute.
It's on page 44. It does define.
Yeah.
Remorse.
Can you read, if you have it handy, Khalid? Go ahead.
It consists in augmenting and expressing the feelings of remorse an individual feels after realizing that he has done some wrongful act.
Yes, it is going back to what you have done. So it is a sort of a recapitulation with reasoning and then rich spiritual awareness. So with that, remorse may come if you have done something wrong. So that process is penance. So
Yes,
here,
Babaji.
yes. So what are the different varieties? Yes.
Yeah. So, penance may be achieved through repentance, self-condemnation, and humility. How does penance help the soul?
It would reduce our Sanskaras, the impressions.
It will prevent you from doing the same thing again, if you have the sincere penance. Yeah.
When penance is carefully nourished and predicted, it inevitably results in mental revocation of undesirable modes of thoughts and conduct and makes one amenable to a life of purity and service. Certainly, it affects us when we take some sort of a reaction out of something that we have done. It will certainly make us. Fasting is one of the things I think. Suppose you have done something wrong, you do fasting, and then you suffer. The suffering will make you remember. I want food. That is the kind of suffering, especially at the time of eating.
Yeah,
a lot
Ravi,
of people,
but fasting would probably come under denying of desires.
Yeah. See, and also you're thinking, right? You're fasting, you have done something wrong. Let me take some penance. So you go through fasting. That will make you remember that. So next time you're careful what you're doing. Or any other action. I'm just bringing up an example of fasting.
Right, fasting can be one, but in my understanding, penance is beyond suffering of the physical form. It has more to do with the mental revocation.
So my question is that would remorse be included in penance? Remorse.
That's
Yes,
the same thing, no?
Yeah. It's the same thing. Semantically, yes.
Yes.
But also, what strength do you feel the remorse? Yeah, I'm sorry. Okay. Is that it, or that affected you for a day? That has a lot more impact on that rather than, oh, it's okay. You see what I mean?
Yeah, it's a valid point. That means the intensity of the remorse.
Intensity of remorse. Yeah, that's what I mean. All right. Okay. Next question. Define sincere penance.
Ravi, before you go to the next question, there is an important sentence here. What help you get out of penance? Self-condemnation accompanied by deep feeling can negate sanskaras of anger, greed, and lust. So we are going to reduce that and achieve some benefit out of that.
Which page is that, Uncle?
44. Penance paragraph itself.
Last line, I think.
That is in between, in the center. Self-penance unwinds sanskaras.
Self-condemnation accompanied by deep feeling can negate the sanskaras of anger, greed, and lust.
Before that, another sentence, such penance unwinds the sanskaras that are responsible for action. So it is coming under the category unwinding and wearing, I think. Wearing out old samskaras and unwinding can be a part of penance, I think.
Yeah. Very good point.
And one caution at the end, another sentence is there on page 45, second sentence. Penance should not be like the everyday repentance that follows everyday weakness.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Okay. Jai Baba.
Jai Baba. Define sincere penance.
No external show-offs. I don't know what is written in the book, but that's what I feel. And it has to be by heart. It's more of mental penance without the next person even knowing it.
Anybody else? Sincere penance consists in perpetuating resolve to avoid in future those deeds that call forth remorse. So it's a permanent thing.
Yeah. So it should focus on the outcome of not repeating those deeds, and then it becomes sincere.
If you have read Lord Meher, the Sai Baba, the first one, the first part, the first book, he wrote about all the perfect masters. And Sai Baba, Shirdi Sai Baba, he had a guru. His name is Venkatarao. He was a great devotee of Venkateswara Swami, Tirupati Venkatachalapati. One time, he goes to market to get some vegetables or whatever. And there is a lady, married lady, also happens to shopping. And he had a lustful feeling, Venkatarao. And you know what he did? He came home and using a knife, he took off both his eyes. What a penance, huh? What a sincere penance. Unbelievable. He never cared how he is going to see everything. You know, he just took off his.
Wow.
Yeah. What, as per Baba, are the three ways to deny desire fulfillment? Deny desire fulfillment. Rejection of desires, cogitation of desire, and desirelessness. Rejection of desires, when we get the desires, we reject. What is cogitation? I don't know.
Cogitation is meditation.
Cogitation is meditation. Okay.
Karthik, cogitation meaning as
Yeah,
per
just 1
dictionary.
second. Yeah, so
An action of thinking deeply about something. An action of thinking deeply about something. Contemplation. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what it is, right? So about the desire, you think deeply, understand, and more than meditation, use that as a way of rooting out the desire, right? So that's, I think, the reference to cogitation in the context here.
Part of penance. Okay.
Yeah.
Desirelessness means you're out of all the desires. You're not even trying to get rid of the desires. Desirelessness. Very good.
I just want to add, it is mentioned somewhere in the chapter that the rejection is the preparation for desirelessness. So point number 1 is the preparation for desirelessness.
So I think I remembered the line now. So it comes with a warning. So if you permit me, Ravi, when desires arise and their release into action is barred, there is plenty of opportunity for spontaneous cogitation. Spontaneous, but then deep thinking, right? About these desires. This cogitation results in the wearing out of the corresponding samskaras. It should be noted, however, and that's the warning, that such spontaneous cogitation does not bring about the desired result if it takes the form of mental indulgence in the desires. So the cogitation should work towards wearing it out and not just indulging in the desire. So we have to be conscious of what we are doing in that thinking. The thinking may actually breed that samskara.
Yeah, I think it is meaning that it has to be deep contemplation and analysis, why I am having this, So that way it is. Yeah. Working on it.
Only after doing that can we reach a state of desirelessness. Probably that's why Baba has put desirelessness as the aspect after cogitation of desires.
Yeah.
There is one more sentence in the same paragraph.
Yeah.
Cogitation should.
Yeah, go ahead.
That is
cogitation should not be accompanied by any conscious sanction for the desires that arise in consciousness, and there should not be any effort to perpetuate the memory of these desires.
Yes.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Because when you think of something and keep mulling over it, or say repeatedly thinking over it, there is a possibility that gets imprinted faster. So that should not happen regarding desires. When your goal is to be desirelessness, you will have to think it over and then just leave it. Should not say keep beating around the bush on the same aspect and then getting it imprinted more and more in your mind, I think.
Yeah, that's true.
So I think the key word I took away was this mental indulgence, right? So indulgence is the problem. So yeah.
Next question. How do we achieve state of non-wanting?
Non-wanting.
Your detachment? When the mind is trained to remain unmoved and balanced in the presence of all external and internal stimuli, it arrives at the stage of non-wanting. Sthitaprajna state. We have to be in a Sthitaprajna state. So we have to be equanimous mind.
Yes. Not getting too happy about things, not getting too sorry about things.
Yeah.
So
remain
detached.
Very true, Sanjay.
Yeah.
How to remain unmoved by worldly expressions. Same thing, I think, right? In order to remain unmoved by the joys and sorrows of the world, the mind must be completely detached from the external and internal stimuli.
Yeah, Baba has given this very simply, that if you are feeling happy, you feel Baba wants to be happy, and if you feel sorry, you should think that Baba wants to be sorry about this.
Yeah.
Get resigned to his ways, dance to his tunes. Yeah, Jai Baba.
Yeah, I did read somewhere that even if cogitation is not helping you, mental cogitation, Baba says, just visualize me in the position of your third eye. Just keep my image or just visualize me, that would help you in, mentally eroding or removing of those feelings or the mental attachments or the mental desires. So it's Baba, whether you think of him or, you repeat his name. Jai Baba.
Repeating his name and remembering him wholeheartedly is the key for all these solutions.
Absolutely. Bingo.
That is what we have to do it all the time. Then there's no space in our mind for any desires. If you think wholeheartedly, that's the key. We can think mechanically, but that's not going to work. Remembering with love, wholeheartedly, any form of God, whatever form you like. We're all thinking about Meher Baba. Any form of God. That makes big difference. That is what we need.
May I come out with some question regarding this?
Please, Mama.
Say this process of shifting all, everything to Baba is one process of, cleansing ourselves. That is accepted. But when we do that, how are we sure that we are doing it 100%? And then the result coming out of that is really from Baba or your own, beating around the bush, trying to push the blame on somebody like Baba, and then getting along with whatever you are doing. So how do we get out of this confusion? So because I what I am doing as a souls, if it is put on the oversoul, how am I sure that it is certified by oversoul?
Mamaji,
very relevant and relevant question, but I think it's very complicated answer. So, go ahead, Ravi. You started first.
Mamaji, you are acting in this world of duality with being a human, right?
Yes.
So every action we do, there is always a reaction. There is always a result out of it. And initially, we think about offering result to the God, and our results are not good. But He also wants us to do the best. Do the best and leave the rest to me, right? That is where we need to perfect it. If we don't do anything in the best way, the result is going to be like that. And we cannot be satisfied with that. We want to achieve the result as it needs to be. The action needs to.
Yeah. Without doing the best, we want the best results, actually.
Yeah, that's not going to work. Yeah. We want the results, but without doing the best, we cannot get the best results. So even if you don't do things perfectly, you still have to offer, because you need to train your mind. And you have to, Baba never said, don't observe the results. How best can you do is in our plate. So whatever is the goal needs to be same as the result. Your goal is, let's say, this is what my goal should be after my action. And you act. The result should be same as whatever you thought about the goal. If the goal and the result are not the same, then you're not doing something right. You offer that, but still next time you try to perfect it, improve it.
Here, one point what I would like to, this is clear explanation. Only thing is, every step that we say take in life, we review and then find out anything, any other way we can do it better or things like that, and keep moving like that. And then each step you offer it to Baba. That is a very proper perspective for anyone in spiritual path. But the common understanding or the wrongful understanding in those who are not thinking like this is, do anything you want and offer it to Baba. You are absolved of all the wrongdoings there. That concept should go out of mind.
Spot on. Mama, why don't you jump in?
Absolutely,
Provisional
absolutely.
working ego.
Perfect.
Yeah, one thing, let me say this thought. In my profession, we treat cancer patients, and I need to develop new techniques, how to treat certain cases. I don't try on patients, the real human beings. I try on something called phantoms. I create my own phantoms, and they sell them there. So I buy them and try them on. And I cannot even think about not doing the best way. There's no way. It has to be successful, 100% successful. And how do I make sure is, of course, we read a lot of papers. We have done the same experiment, and I try to read the papers and try it out. How I do is will be different. I have to make sure, because if I do something wrong, the patient is going to die. So I can't even think about do some work and leave the result to God. I have to make sure my goal is this. The result has to be that. So I spent ample amount of time to make sure when we try it on the patient, it's going to be safe and secure, and we get the result. So even I bring the Baba not for the result, but to help me in the process, how I do it. So Jai Baba with that.
Yes.
So Jai Baba, I have an observation. So I think that we have read in the Baba literature that there are different facets to the same thing. Life is like a kaleidoscope. Each one of us will look at it in different angles. The point is, the end goal is very simple. Fana, Manonash, Nirvana, liberation, annihilation of the mind. And this is happening only in the waking state. The question you have is, are we talking about the material living or spiritual living? As Ravi said, when you're doing your work, you have to do your work and leave it to God. Now, God is what? We don't know what God is unless you self-realize. We have many different interpretations based on each one's, consciousness, degree of consciousness. So we have a two-way approach, a bottoms-up approach or a top-down approach. The bottoms-up approach is going through mathematics, physics, chemistry, and keep dissecting, or the bottoms-down approach, which is what Baba has given us. So from your point of view, which I can understand because of your medical training, the mind is always working overtime in the waking state. We can't help it. So how do we become aware of the mind? Because as Baba said, you can't control thoughts. They are like mosquitoes. So we have three kinds of action: action of thoughts, action of words, action of deeds. So, like associative, comparative, superlative. So the main challenge is about the thought, which is from the mind. Now, we are a victim of our sanskaras. Sometimes we do intelligent action by not reacting, but responding with intelligent action, which is called unwinding sanskaras. Or if our sanskaras are dominant, we are going to react and create new sanskaras. So this is from the technical point of view, like from the Baba literature, that this is what is happening in the whole process of life in the waking state. So the question here is that, is there any point feeling guilty about something? No. We all know that lust, greed, and anger came from animal kingdom. Now, as you rightly said, we have full and complete consciousness. Why aren't we awakened? Again, sanskaras is an obstacle, which is a form of ignorance. Even with the knowledge of sanskaras, even with the knowledge of Baba literature and everything, we still are consumed by our lust, greed, and anger on a day-to-day basis. That is the real challenge. And Baba has given us the solution, has walked away. Okay, we have to leave him. Like he's like the life coach PhD candidate. He's there hovering around us. But we have no excuse now. Like we have the knowledge, the theoretical knowledge. Now, one way of looking at it, do we understand completely the universal laws of nature? In my talk, I don't know how many of you have seen the video, but there is one PowerPoint which talks about, the reading part, the importance of reading and contemplating and reflecting on it and being imbibed in that. So all of us are in three different stages. Some people are still reading. Some people are reading and contemplating, introspecting, reflecting, and some people are imbibing it, depending on what sort of situation we are in. So I think the most important point here is, do we understand the universal laws of nature? And the main law is, the universal law of nature is impermanence. This is the waking dream from which we have not woken up. So you are a ball game player. Either you are an actor, a Shakespearean actor. Every day you have to go to Broadway, or in Britain in one of those Royal Albert Hall or something. You have to put on your act, the same act, because 80% of our act every day is the same, getting up, doing our work. Are we doing it in the most intelligent way? I think that is the challenge here. So it's a form of self-awareness. So there is no need to actually, now with being under Baba's umbrella, he just wants us to keep working at it. And that's it. Jai Baba.
Perfect. The onus is very, very high on us, actually. Being Baba lovers and claiming or reading, if it is not a claim, but we feel that we have read. To put it in practice. Yeah, Jai Baba. Very nice, Kamaji. Jai Baba.
Jai Baba. Let's go to the next question. Which is the grossest form of the attachment?
Yeah, lust.
Lust. That's excellent.
Yeah.
The grossest form of attachment is that which is directed towards the world of objects. Yeah, that is the grossest. Avatar Meher Baba Ku Jai. Why did I say Ku? Anybody has any clue?
I don't know.
Cool.
Huh? Cool?
It's actually cool.
No, when Baba was there, all the Hindi speaking people used to say Avatar Meher Baba Ki Jai. And there were a lot of Telugu people, and they would say Avatar Meher Baba Ku Jai. So this was a kind of a discussion on the people what to say, Ki Jai or Ku Jai. This was when Baba was
really?
there. Yeah.
Yeah, I have heard even later, actually. Yeah, Ku Jai. Yeah.
Ujjayi. So, but that's why Baba said, Hamirpur is my heart and Andhra is my mind. They are very intellectual. They think too much. Jai Baba. Thank you, Khalid Bhai. Excellent questions. Learned a lot. So I think, Karthik, you need to assign people responsible.
I think that's
it's
a
not
very
going to work. If we say everybody contribute, nobody's contributing. So assign.
Yeah. Assign chapters and by rotation. So the next chapter I'll assign and put it on the group. But just as feedback, I hope, thank you very much, Khalid. Beautiful questions. And thank you, Ravi, for making it a deck and grilling us now. But I hope all of you spend some time over the course of the week going back to that chapter and using it as a way of absorbing and relearning, because that's the whole idea. Without that, the questions will become another way of spending an hour where they're just talking and interacting, because it's important that you go back to the chapter that we're going to be quizzed on, read it again, read it over and over again if possible, do your own notes, mark it up, and share insights and thoughts that you'd like to share with the group, and then go forward. So any thoughts and comments, individual experiences of last week?
I think this is a very good way of learning. It's just beautiful, actually. We must continue. And I hope I'll be able to contribute. Yeah, Jai Baba. I'll listen to your advice and do something at least.
Yeah.
Jai Baba Karthik. Yeah.
See, we are all curious, right? We are all curious. And when the question is asked, our curious mind will certainly look for an answer, whether we know it or not. If somebody says the answer, it's like, aha, great, and you'll be able to remember. So, whereas if you read it, if you can answer it, a lot of these questions are not straightforward. We need discussion on that. So, if you're thorough, unless you're thorough with the subject, you cannot really discuss.
Perfect.
It can be a silent observer.
Okay. Reflection.
I want
Reflection.
More people to be active on these question sessions, because that shows that A, you have read, and B, you are able to take away from MBA like we want, or like we all wish to do, right? So that's the whole idea. Just give me 1 second.
Please don't think it is like a college quiz. It is a learning tool. It's not to test somebody knows it or not. That is not the point at all. It's only to learn. That's all. Jai Baba. Thank you, Khalid, for giving me a chance.
Thank you, Ravi. Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.
Okay. So are you seeing my screen, guys? Not yet. I'll just share 1 second. So we'll read a quick chapter. The next one is the third part, which is wiping of Samskaras. So it's a small chapter, so I think we can finish reading it. 1 second. And then hopefully tomorrow we spend some time on Trello at the end of reading. And next week we do questions, and I will nominate the person. I think I've got a clue already based on on who it should be. I will nominate somebody. Yeah. So part 3, removal of samskaras. That's where we are starting from. Any other points before we continue from the previous chapter? Okay. Cool. So Avtar Meher Baba Ki Jai, removal of samskaras, part 3, wiping out of samskaras. Right. Impressions from Sadguru transform life. Love for the Sadguru, or perfect master, is particularly important because it invites contact with the Sadguru. Through such contact, the aspirant receives from the master impressions that have special potency of undoing other past impressions, thus completely transforming the tenor of his life. The recipient of the impressions may entirely give up old habits of life and ways of thought. Such contact changes and elevates the tone of the most depraved life. A person might have been leading a life of reckless dissipation without ever thinking of anything other than the fulfillment of mundane desires. He might have been caught up in the thirst for possession and power, with no ideal other than that of acquiring and hoarding money and making merry. However, even such a person who cannot, by any stretch of imagination, think of freedom from earthly fetters may find that the sanskaras he receives from his contact with the Sadguru are potent enough to drop forever a curtain on his old manner of thought and existence and to open for him entirely new vistas of a higher and freer life. The impressions received from the master might be equally beneficial to an intellectual and cultured person whose vision is nevertheless circumscribed, whose imagination can at best appreciate the beauty of art and literature, and whose altruism cannot go beyond the limits of his neighborhood or the boundaries of his country. Such a person would, on receiving impressions from a master, be lifted to still higher modes of life. So there's a little bit of reference to the colon and the whiteboard that we talked in the questions. So the colon is actually impressions that come from the Sadguru. Interesting, right? Wiping out or
what are the sanskaras that we get from the Sadguru is the question we need to pose.
Yeah, right? So I think let's wait to see if it's answered further down. But basically, he's repeated that point multiple times. Aspirant receives, right? Receives from the master impressions. So, and then he goes on even again here. Such a person on receiving impressions from a master. So that's the colon. Colon on the whiteboard.
No, another point here is we are receiving impressions and we have to work on that. So it is not just like somebody gives you a check and then all your debt is cleared. You are given some say sort of work which you will do and then you will be free of your debt. So something like that.
You have to, you have to become worthy of it.
Impression is very, very captivating there. Right?
Yes, yes. You have to become worthy. What we call it in Hindi is patrata, you know. Patrata, we call it, you know. You have to be worthy of it, to receive that.
Yeah, but I don't see an action after the receipt, because even here, if you see, the recipient of the impressions may entirely give up old habits of life and ways of thought. So it's just, it happens. It happens based on what he receives as impressions, but I may be wrong.
Yeah, it is may actually. So it's ultimately, he gives you that, but ultimately he has to carry it, you know. The recipient has to carry that. Yeah. Yeah. It's an opportunity that he gets because of his previous sanskaras and the effort that he has made. And he gets the grace, but he has to carry that grace. He can drop it off also. So that's why I think the word may is there.
Yeah. Fine. Now we'll see if it is clarified further down. So let's not jump to any conclusions. Wiping out all sanskaras through intervention of Sadguru. The Sadguru can raise the aspirant from the ordinary intellectual level of consciousness to the level of consciousness where there is inspiration and intuition, and then onward to the level of insight and illumination that culminates in his merging into the infinite. This rising of the aspirant corresponds to his progress from the mundane sphere to the subtle sphere, from the subtle sphere to the mental sphere, and finally from the mental sphere to the state of freedom. The last step implies complete wiping out of all sanskaras, natural or non-natural, positive or negative. To take the analogy of the string wound around a stick, this process of the wiping out of sanskaras consists in cutting the string with a pair of scissors. The erasing of all sanskaras, which is implied in the final release of consciousness from all illusion and bondage, can never be achieved except through the grace of a Sadguru. Need for complete self-surrender.
Karthik,
Yeah.
We can read that first sentence.
Again,
and I want Ashok to be conscious of that. There are 5 I's here.
Okay, why Ashok?
Because he is interested in all the different words. All of us are interested. But Ashok makes an effort to make a... Okay.
Okay. So I liked your thought on Telegram on branding all of us. So you branded us.
I forgot about Khalid there. Okay.
Yeah, so you can add him now. You can brand Khalid. Okay, I'll read the line again. The Sadguru can raise the aspirant from the ordinary intellectual level of consciousness to the level of consciousness where there is inspiration and intuition, and then onward to the level of insight and illumination that culminates in his merging into the infinite.
Yes. So inspiration, intuition, insight and illumination leading to infinite.
Yeah.
So if you see, there are like millions of people who came in Baba's contact. So some had just the inspiration, and then that inspiration dissipated. Actually, they did not, and some had intuition, and some people have. So it's just you come in contact with him, but it ultimately it's your own prarabdha sanskaras and your own effort, which ultimately is what matters actually.
Yes. So
So they must have been really lucky. They were really prepared actually. They must have been those souls who came in Baba's physical contact must have been something special about them. But not that everybody progressed in that sense. Yeah. Jai Baba.
Okay. Need for complete self-surrender, I continue. But such active intervention by the Sadguru presupposes an unrestrained relationship between the aspirant and the master, which can be established only when the aspirant succeeds in complete self-surrender to him. Self-surrender implies obedience to all the orders of the master. When all your desires and actions are guided by him and are the result of your obeying his orders, he becomes directly responsible for them. Thus, when self-surrender is thorough, the responsibility for your release from sanskaras is devolved upon the master, and under this new condition, the master annihilates all your sanskaras in no time. Some more context for some of the for Mamaji's question as well earlier this morning, right? Intellectual obedience. Obedience to the master as implied in full self-surrender is of two kinds, intellectual and literal. Of these two types of obedience, intellectual obedience comes first and is a preliminary to literal obedience, which is more fruitful. When you're intellectually convinced about the greatness and perfection of the master, you have love and respect for him, but are unable to follow his orders literally. Reason being the basis of your conviction, you find it difficult to divorce it from your understanding of the master and his orders. As the two are inextricably intertwined with each other, your reasoned faith holds you within the limits of intellectual obedience. This phase of the pupil is left undisturbed by the master, and all the pills of obedience offered by him are intellectualized in order to suit the pupil's taste and caliber. Very interesting point made here. Literal obedience is the next section. Through intellectual obedience to the master, you can annihilate all your sanskaras, provided you're sincere in your logical interpretation of his orders and in their execution. But the result comes much quicker if your obedience is literal. Literal obedience is the effect of the rock-like faith and deep love that the master inspires in the pupil through his human appeal. The overflowing radiance of the master's halo and the effulgence of his purity and compassion are mainly responsible for creating in the pupil an unswerving faith which prepares him to follow the master's orders implicitly, irrespective of their satisfying his critical spirit. Such literal obedience is not even bound by the requirement that the real significance of the orders should be within the intellectual comprehension of the pupil, and it is the best type of obedience to which you can aspire. Through such implicit and unquestioning obedience, all the crooked knots of your desires and sanskaras are set straight. It is also through such obedience that a deep link is created between the master and the pupil, with the result that there is an unhindered and perennial flow of spiritual wisdom and power into the pupil. At this stage, the pupil becomes the spiritual son or daughter of the master, and in due time, he or she is freed from all the individualistic and sanskaric ties. Then such a rare one also becomes a master. Role of Sadguru. The Sadguru or perfect master has a position and power that is unique. There are many souls in the world who are more or less advanced on the spiritual path, but there are few who have crossed all 6 stages of the internal spheres of consciousness and become one with the infinite source of existence, knowledge, and bliss. The Sadguru has not only experienced the different planes of consciousness, but he actually permeates the very being of all souls because of his having become one with the infinite. He is the pivot of universal activity. In a sense, to him are due all your thoughts and actions, your joys and sorrows, your frets and fumes, your strengths and weaknesses, your possessions and surrenderance, and your love and longing. He not only pervades all existence, but is consciously conversant with the cosmic law of cause and effect and the complex working of the sanskaras of individual souls. The causes of individual happiness or misery, vices or virtues, are as much known to him as the causes of cosmic changes and upheavals. Every being is an open book for the infinite searchlight of his omnipresent consciousness. Because of his union with the infinite, the master is endowed with unlimited power, and in the twinkling of an eye, he can annihilate all the sanskaras of the soul and liberate it from all entanglements and bondage. Jai Baba. So, very interesting chapter. Any insights, comments? I have something provocative.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Something comes to my mind which Kama used to repeat, and also it is explained in God Speaks and Discourse. Say, if you surrender and obey your master, he can take you either open-eyed or blindfolded through the different planes to the 6th plane or the 7th ultimately. So what do you understand by open eye or blindfolded? So the last paragraph looks like blindfolded, and the other paragraphs explain something about the open eye process and all that. So I am not very clear about that, but that's the thinking process going on. Kama can come in and say something, or somebody else also can put in.
Doc Mama, can you repeat that question again, please?
No, there is a process told as, say, Sadguru or Avatar can take you through the planes, either open-eyed or blindfolded, directly to the upper echelons. So what do you understand by those, in the light of what we read today now?
I think there are multiple ways of reaching the goal of God realization or self-realization. First, we all know that everybody will get liberated. Every drop soul will get liberated by 84 lakh lives. This is my understanding. And we are under the guidance of a perfect master or avatar, so that we can reduce the number of cycles, from 84 lakh to whatever, 84, 840, whatever. Now we have two choices. Do you want to experience all the different planes? I think the point of being a human being is, even with the choice of a perfect master, he gives us this choice, free will, to either surrender to him and just follow his dictates, or you just learn all the knowledge and then you start doing your own thing, going through the first plane, second plane, third plane, and so on and so forth. And then, you kind of reach the sixth plane where you anyway need to have the grace of a perfect master to take you to the seventh. So we have an example of Sri Aurobindo, who was in the sixth plane. As you know, for the last 25 years, he isolated himself. Only the mother used to be the public face. But Baba himself said that when Aurobindo dropped his body, he gave him God realization, basically. Those are very rare cases. In fact, from God Speaks, I've read that people who are in the sixth plane basically will get liberation or God realization, or probably God realization. So I think that, do you want to be like a goods train stopping everywhere? Do you want to be like a passenger train or an express train or a Concorde? So I think going veiled by a perfect master is going into the Concorde, having a glass of wine, have some cheese, go to sleep, and reach your destination. So I think that is the best form of surrender with a perfect master. So otherwise, if you want to go unveiled, then you have to go through all these different challenges and keep coming back to the perfect master, because he's always patient. The perfect master, once he takes you as his disciple, he's never going to leave. So I
Yeah.
think choice one has to make whether surrender is the
Yeah.
best form. And also in terms of yoga, we know that devotion is the best form of surrender to the perfect master without going through intellectual knowledge. People like us, because of our sanskaras, we need to have the knowledge, but the knowledge has to be dropped off in the end like a scaffolding. Jai Baba.
Yeah, Kamaji. I think the literal obedience is a way to the blindfolded
Yeah.
option. Yeah. So that is like a simile kind of a thing. Yeah.
Yes, the other
Yeah.
simile that we can think of is gradual or fast unwinding and cutting the string. Cutting the string
Yeah.
is blindfolded,
So
so
if you
that
are
all your sanskaras dropped at once, and then you are taken to a higher plane
yeah.
immediately.
Yeah, if the master says it's day, it's day. Otherwise, if master says
Yeah.
night, it's night. That example is there in a story, Baba's story. So that is where he takes you, after your literal obedience to him or literal surrenderance to him, he takes you blindfolded actually.
Yeah.
The best example is Baba's Mandali. They didn't
Yes.
know about God Speaks, they didn't know about discourses. They just completely devoted to Baba, because once they had the conviction and faith, then it was just a no-brainer. You just surrender completely. Yeah, Baba.
Yes, Kamaji.
Further
Yeah,
to
Baba.
Mamaji's question, I had a question. Going blindfolded or open eyes, is this an opportunity or is it an option?
I don't know. I don't know. So that
depends on the
Sadguru
each,
decides. Maybe
depends on the
he
each
decides.
Samskara.
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe that soul's characteristics, the Sadguru will decide which is the best way for him. If he has certain things still, say, ingrained in him, then he may make him experience those things gradually over a period of time and then take him onto the higher plane.
Yeah.
But the other soul, which is almost ready for everything, may be taken blindfolded.
Yeah. Right. Mamaji, it's not that either or option actually. In the beginning, it could be your effort actually, and ultimately, when you reach a stage, he takes you blindfolded. So it's not you. Yeah. So it's where you are actually, and then it is decided by the master. Yeah.
Yes.
And an observation I have to make is when I look at the lives of musts in different things, I try to understand, see, musts are in the plane of involution. But probably what happens is, as Baba said, only the fifth plane and the sixth plane saints can guide a spiritual aspirant, because the person in the fifth and sixth plane you might call as advanced spiritual aspirant. People between the first and fourth plane can influence you, but one should not take them as a guide. So probably what happens with musts is that they get influenced by like a Sri Ravi Shankara or Osho or something, and then they follow that. And even the fifth plane and sixth plane saint can only take them to their level, right? They can't give them self-emancipation. So what happens to musts is they get lost. They are sincere, they are dedicated, they reach the different planes, but they get stuck. That is where I think it is very interesting to observe why Baba went around, not only to do inner work through these musts, but also to give us an example of what happens when you're in the spiritual path without the guidance of the master. Jai Baba.
Super points by everybody. Thank you, Kama, as well, for that interesting must example.
One more point. In the initial paragraphs here, there are certain things mentioned. Can we have examples of somebody's life which can depict that? If someone can think on those lines and bring out some knowledge later, maybe good.
Can you be more specific, please?
I'll have to read back and
yeah,
I will put it as a query.
Why don't you do that? And meanwhile, I'll tell you what I wanted to bring up in response to this chapter. So I go back to what Mamaji asked during the questions. It was a very broad answer question, right? So he said, how does one know what by leaving it to Baba and leaving it as his will every time? Can I be? Is that licentiousness? One point. Second, how do you know that it's actually what Baba wants me to do? So all those become much more easier if you have recognized the perfect master and gone to a literal obedience with a living perfect master. In the absence of a living perfect master and your surrenderance to a living perfect master, those things get a lot more complicated. So in that limited sense, we are unlucky, the people on this call and maybe Baba lovers in that sense. So what we are, of course, gifted the civilizational and timing gift of intuition that Baba has given us. But then intuition can be mistaken because of our ego, because of our intellect, and then our impressions. So what we take for impressions, what we take for intuition could be wrong. And a living perfect master and full surrenderance to a living perfect master is vastly superior to anything else, right? So that's best case scenario. That's my inference after reading this chapter.
Yes, I agree with that.
So we're just a little unlucky.
But also, I think we have to be cognizant of the fact here that Baba is available to each and every sundry soul, Baba lovers or non-Baba lovers, right now in the formless aspect, Nirguna Nirakar, from 1969 to 2069, 100 years. He has repeated that. So
I vehemently agree with you, Kama, but how do I detect what is my sanskaric impression and what is an intuition, what is input from Baba? That there's no answer. There's no easy answer. That's the problem.
I think the challenge here is that not to dwell on that. I think you have to go by intuition. No, I think it's like a whim. See, anything you do in life is almost like a whim. Okay, shopping, whatever you do, sometimes we do things with a whim. And I think that at that time we want to use your Vivek and Vairagya and see, and like that's why they say at the end of the day, why don't you contemplate on the day and figure out where did you screw up, where did you go wrong and where did you do right, and learn from that. That is where Vivek and Vairagya comes. So I think that if we get too analytical, analysis leads to paralysis. So I think we have to now be very clear that Baba is guiding us. And I think I'm talking from my own example. I went through the same challenge, how do I know? But you know what? Once you surrender and stop expecting, I think that is the acceptance is more important than expectation. And once you surrender, then things start to happen and things start to go in flow. That's my experience. Jai Baba.
Kama, I think you explained very well, Kama. Those are the exact thoughts I was going to express. You put it very nicely. And that is the answer. Either it's for Mama's question or the way Karthik put it.
Super. So surrenderance, I have not reached 100% surrenderance. Possible, absolutely possible, right? So, and after that, your ability to connect without being clouded by impressions and get the true gift of intuition and start interacting at least till 2069 is unlocked. So I'll get that.
Yes, thank you.
I'll get that, but then again, I'll get there. But
another
lingering, lurking fear, my lurking fear would be, I hope I'm not hallucinating about getting there. Or I shouldn't imagine I've already got there when I'm not. So that, all those things are removed when there is a living perfect master. So I still go back to that point. Right? Anyway, I don't want to dwell more on this topic. Unless there's something else. Ravi, you were saying something.
Yeah. If you love Baba deeply, you will know what you're doing, how best you're doing, and Baba would like it or not. Baba don't appreciate it. You will understand very clearly. But there's something that you have to learn how to contact with your divine self. See, after all, who is Baba? Baba passed away as a person, right? He's a passed away. He is your indwelling power. He is there in you, in yourself. You can contact him, but we have to develop that knack of in tune with him so that whether he would approve, not approve, all those details we can grasp. But that comes from the deep love and deep interaction with the Baba. Jai Baba.
Great, thank you. So before we go, let's welcome Rana Krishna again, and then maybe give her an opportunity to briefly introduce herself, if possible on video, if you're comfortable, or just with audio. And we'll probably do a quick round of intros as well.
This is my face, Krishna. Show your face.
Oh. I actually don't know how to operate Teams, so I can only hear you guys. And secondly...
Oh, that's a pity. You were not able to see the screen when we were doing the reading and the questions?
No. That's the only thing I can see.
Okay. All right. Now, if you notice below that, there are small boxes. So if you click on that, it moves from the photos to the shared screen. So are you on a phone device or are you on...
I'm on a phone device.
Okay. So,
but it's okay. I will just. There's nothing much to introduce. But my name is Pashmina actually. Pashmina Rana. And I belong to Gujarat, and I belong to one of the small Thikana, a royal family from here. And all my education is palace schooling. It's like homeschooling. So essentially, I'm illiterate.
That's the new word.
Yeah, it's like homeschooling only.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So when I have to officially write, I have to always write I'm illiterate. So that's Kama is a very close and dear friend of mine. Being a Oshoite, I have always known about Meher Baba because Osho has mentioned about Meher Baba. And when I met Kama, I got to know more about it. And I had one of my spiritual mentor before he passed away. He had told me that 10 things to do, and one of the thing was to visit Baba's place, which I was unable to do. Now, maybe in near future, we all will get together there.
Okay, good.
I'm a business person, voracious reader. I read the library dry.
Wow.
Wow. Beautiful.
No, I
Beautiful
didn't get the
place,
idea. Okay.
Where do you live, Krishna? Just say
I live in Ahmedabad. I'm living in Ahmedabad right
it's
now.
close to Mehrabad. It's just
Yes, for 2 years, I and Kama and another friend of ours have been planning to go and meet, and somehow it didn't happen. But first available opportunity, I plan to go there. And now I connect with Baba at other levels also because I'm a meditator. So.
beautiful.
Awesome. Welcome aboard, Your Highness.
No. Pashmina is fine. Pashmina is fine. And only one thing that is unusual about me is that I'm born Muslim. My father and I was married in a Hindu family, and by choice I am spiritual and more Buddhist. So
Wow.
I have explored all the three religions and their fanatism and the good part also.
Did
And
you read Bible?
Because yes, we have read because we've partly studied in a smaller. We had those governesses were Christians who taught us, so we understood. We understood in a different way.
All right, very good, super.
Yeah.
Welcome.
So nice to meet with some palace woman.
No, but you are welcome to my palace, my brother's palace. It's near Bharuch, and all of you are welcome. And in the 7th generation from ours, there was a great saint in our family. So Kama has been wanting to visit, and last time he was here in Gujarat. We were planning to go, but it was raining heavily, so we couldn't leave the house.
Okay.
So you all are welcome to, as soon as this is over, everybody is welcome.
Okay.
It's a very spiritual place where I belong.
Interesting. Very, very interesting.
हमारे गांव की जमीन की रज रज कण कण के अंदर, and by the way, I am from the direct vanshaj of Krishna. Yadupur.
Oh wow, Dwarka.
So you will see both sides of spirituality when you people visit my home.
Beautiful.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
It would be nice to have brief introduction of everybody other than Kama.
Sure. Sure. So I'll probably start and then we can go around quickly. I'm in Bangalore. I'm in the tech space. I've been I got introduced to Baba about 5 years back, and then
Who's speaking actually?
Karthik.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So so we started this group about a year back. We've been doing some reading, and more than the reading, we have enjoyed the journey of learning together. And we've got people from all walks of life, from literally all over the world, and it's been a lot of fun doing this. So that's me. Next, Mama, maybe.
I am Mama to Karthik also in relationship. I'm called Mamaji. My name is Dattu Sridharan. So if you phone and other link, it will show us Sridharan.
Okay.
So I came to Baba through Karthik. And the other way around, Baba came to me through Karthik. So that's how it's going on. We are in a group of learning more about the journey and reaching Baba. So I'm a retired professor of microbiology from a medical college.
Okay.
Now trying to be totally retired into Vanaprastha. It's not yet happening. That is my status.
Okay, nice meeting you.
Okay.
So we'll do the videos first. Yeah, Sanjay ji, go ahead.
Yeah, Jai Baba, my name is Sanjay Nigam. I'm currently based in Mumbai. And in fact, I was close to Ahmedabad for 4 years. I was in Jamnagar. And yeah, I was working there. And
Reliance.
Reliance, yes. And I fell in.
Reliance.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I couldn't hear you.
My daughter is a lawyer for Reliance and Anil Ambani himself.
Okay. So I was at the refinery. And then I fell in love with Baba a long time back in 1987. And the journey has been great. And we have been enjoying reading this in these sessions on weekends. And a lot of learning and love flowing around in this group. So I request you to be regular and then you will love it. Yeah. Jai Baba.
Sanjay ji, I've
you.
tried using that. Sanjay ji, I've tried using that phrase, fell in love. I prefer rise in love. Rise in love. You don't fall in love.
Okay. Okay.
Let's rise in love.
Yes. Jai Baba.
Jai Baba. Khalid ji? Khalid?
Jai Baba Pashmina.
Jai Baba.
Yeah, I'm from Kolkata, state of West Bengal, the eastern part of India. So we are directly opposite to each other.
Yes.
You're in one corner of the country, I'm on the other corner.
Yes, that's
true. I was introduced to Baba somewhere in the 2011-12. Thereafter, it's been a wonderful journey. And by profession, I'm a designer, interior designer.
Okay.
And my life is also quite similar to yours. I'm a Muslim. My parents are Christian. I'm married to a Hindu.
Okay.
So I've had the opportunity of engulfing the do's and don'ts of the worldly religions all together. Yeah. But now, under the umbrella of Baba, I have just one faith. That is Meher Baba. Nice meeting you, Pashmina. Jai Baba.
Same here. Jai Baba. Cherry ji. There is a name called Cherry.
Mute.
You're on mute.
You're on mute.
Okay, Jai
Cherry.
Baba.
Jai Baba.
Jai Baba Pashmina.
Jai
Charandeep
Baba.
here, known as Cherry. Very new to Baba, but forever with Baba, as long as this conscious mind remembers him, even in the next birth. But for this birth, yes. I was introduced to Baba by Khalid, and initial in 2018 until, it was like, who's Baba and why are people believing in him? And now it is like, I want to rise in love with Baba.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. And I am from Kolkata as well, married in Delhi. I have a 6-year-old daughter.
Okay.
And what else? Yeah, that's it. And it was lovely knowing you. It was lovely. I want to hear more and more about the spiritual background that you were talking about, where you and Kama wanted to go. I think we have to have a more intro of yours, a longer session where
Yes,
you can give us more info about you. I also want to know how is Osho. I've been an Oshoite. I have read about Osho as well. Where did he mention about me? I was just wondering when you mentioned that he has mentioned about Meher Baba. Rajneesh, right? You're talking about Rajneesh?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. I don't remember exactly where, but most of us in the Osho world know about Meher Baba, and almost all the masters, because Osho has spoken on everybody. And that's how we know a lot more than most people, because being essentially Oshoite at heart.
Okay.
But he spoke very high of Babaji. And now I connect with Baba. I mean, all of us, you must be connecting with him at a deeper level. But I only connect, Meher Baba connects with me only to give message to Kama, that's all.
What kind of message to Kama?
Babaji will never come to compliment and all that. He will only come to direct you when you are not on the path, or when you're just vacillating from your path or something like that. When you need extra help or strength, that is the time. I think masters connect with us. They don't come to give you medals and all that. From all the masters that I have known and connected with.
Okay. Ravi, why don't you go?
Jai Baba Krishnaji, this is Ravi Irvabalu. I'm originally from Vijayawada, Andhra Pradesh. Yeah. Now I live in United States for the last 35 years. Our family have been Baba lovers since 1962.
Oh, that's nice.
We have been holding on to Baba. I'm still holding on to Baba.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Absolutely. More than okay.
Yeah. Great to have you. And this group has been, I've been with this group last 1 year, and I got benefited a lot in reading the discourses and going deep into Baba.
Right.
Yeah.
Anybody's left?
Yes. Vipul, Sunil.
Ashok.
Ashok is jumped off, I think. Yeah, he's no longer on the meeting. So Sunil, why don't you go?
Hi, Jai Baba. My name is Sunil. I'm originally from Singapore, right now in Pune. Born in a Baba family.
Okay.
In love with Baba. What else should I say? Nice to have you, Krishna. I was in and out in the session today, but I heard you a bit. Would like to have you more on the group. Thank you.
Sure. My knowledge on Baba is not much, except what I heard from Kama and Vidya. So it will be nice to get it from all of you also, variety of angles.
Yeah.
But twice Babaji connected with me, and both the times it was all about love. It's nothing about intellectuals.
Absolutely.
That's Bingo. Baba is all about love.
Yeah. Both the time it was about love only.
Yeah. Pashmina ji, you being a voracious reader, you had a chance to look at the discourses, maybe. So, I mean, at least I or maybe all of us would recommend that you pick up a copy. If you want, we can send it to you. Yeah.
Kama sent me. Kama sent me. God Speaks. When we were together last year, I think 6 months back, we did read God Speaks.
Okay. And also pick up the discourses, which is like more easier reading, which we are currently doing. Yeah, Baba.
Yeah, that's true. Thank you.
See, discourses has got all the that is there in Vedas and scriptures, many scriptures.
Yeah.
But God Speaks has got more than what was never revealed in all these scriptures that have been there for last thousands of years.
Okay.
the evolution of a soul from the beginning, from the God, to the end, to become one with the God. The whole journey is described very vividly, very in detail in God Speaks. And if you read God Speaks, you are thorough with it because all the concepts are revealed like 4 times. So it is Brahma Vidya, they say it's Brahma Vidya, right? It's real knowledge that you can carry on to life after life.
And the Discourses goes as the guidebook for the aspirants, which is so it's like that. Yeah.
Vipulji?
Vipul.
You're on mute if you're speaking already.
Anji.
Namaste.
Namaste.
जी.
Aji, बताइए.
We just wanted a quick intro.
बताना है. Brief intro of yourself.
Very intro. I live in Bombay.
जी.
I run my small business. And I am also new to Meher Baba's circle. A little senior to you.
Right.
Okay. And I can tell you this group is an amazing way of learning. I haven't come across any learning group on any subject which has openness and discussion the way we have. Jai Meher Baba.
Thank you.
Yeah, and may I add, fights, disagreements, everything. We have fun. So you'll get to see it soon. So anyway, on that note, we'll wrap up for today.
Yes.
But tomorrow we have a session on Trello. I will send again the installables on Trello. But my request to all of you, please set it up on your mobiles and or devices and use the ID that I have sent the invitation on. That ID again, that email address again, is the one you have joined MBA on Teams. The same email address is what I've used. Please do that step because then we can actually experience this together. I did some sessions with Kama and now he's completely sold. We're doing something very interesting which can be valuable if we all get the hang of it. So please, I'll use the word again. Please indulge me. Please install and be available for that session tomorrow. Yeah. So it's
Karthik.
Yeah.
You and Kama had prepared a PowerPoint presentation, and in that one of the slides was an action. So there was a sort of a ladder.
Yes.
So where can I get it in Trello?
It's on the Teams files. I have not put it on Trello because I am updating the cards as we finish the chapter. Yeah,
Teams
as we finish
file,
the chapter.
it will be there. Okay.
It is there. I think it's called Action and Inaction.ppt.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Action and Inaction.ppt. Yeah. All right. Thank you very much, and we will catch up tomorrow.
Sure. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Jai Meher Baba.
Thank you. Thank you. Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.
Jai Baba. Jai Baba.